I mean, I'll be honest with you. I think that at the very beginning of it, and we were in the middle of diversity work when a lot of it was kicking off, I had to really manage my personal rage because it was an unnatural rage. I'm a very calm person, but suddenly I just felt this bubble of everything that just minor things that we suppress. You know, how we navigate ourselves, how we conduct ourselves, and suddenly it was almost like uh, opening a can of worms of wounds and feelings and things that were said that I'll let that one go because it's only a minor thing. You know, we kind of have to navigate like that. How big is the issue? How much of a problem that we need to complain about? Who's going to listen to us and what they're going to do about it? But then the conversation started to change. I think going through that and having people that really wanted to listen. And some of that I kept saying with people is like, this is not new, what we're talking about. As Brianna said there, it's not an American issue. It's not, as a Londoner, I've had people telling me that London is a racist place, but I've experienced a lot here in Scotland. Working in the care sector when I first started here, working in a nursing home, there's a lot of stuff that I'd never heard when I was growing up that was just like, what is this? And is under banter. So how do you talk about that? How do you navigate that? So a lot of it was really, I had to step back and really build up on my own strength, because you need a lot of strength when you're talking about this. How am I going to navigate this? I did a podcast where it was almost like a cleansing of, right, I'm going to face up, I'm going to step up, but it's also understanding the reactions, the things that are going to be said to us online when we start to speak up, you know, the trolling and whatnot. What's the protection there? Who's going to be there to back us up when things get nasty? Because it does, right? You mentioned equality, suddenly you get a troll jumping in there. So there's a lot of that kind of work, and also talking to people in the background who were saying that, yeah, this happens. You know, what's going on? Why suddenly everybody's jumping in? They're like, oh my gosh, now I see. You know, how are they going to help us? What's the action? What's the accountability? So I've taken a lot of time to try and get in and work with that, breaking down some of these structures that are blocking people, that are behind, you know, layers of stuff that we're not going to make the change if we don't face up to it. We're not going to make the change if we don't have these kind of conversations of what is it that we need, and how do we support people, and let people that in the background who they want to say stuff but they can't, because that fear of, if I say something, how is that going to impact me? As somebody in this space, I feel that, yeah, I have that responsibility of being a bit more vocal. Even then, I still, things happen that I'm stepping back going, do I say something? How do I say, you know, how do I react to this? There's a lot of self conversation that go in there. I'm still there. I'm still at my discovery of how much do I step up and speak out, and, you know, and be a part of that change, because it has to, you know. I've got a 7-year-old here who I suddenly have to think, I'm going to have that conversation with her about racism. She's a mixed child, but she's going to have that other side of her, that she's going to have these things that happens to her, that I'm going to have that conversation. How many 7-year-olds here that you would have to have that conversation with? So there's a lot of that kind of thinking, and realizing that, again, there's not enough that's been done to support our young people with everything that's been going on, with the protests that's been going on, and reading about racism in secondary school in Scotland. There's not enough being done to support young people going through this, in this pandemic, and everything else. So thinking back to my own personal rage as an adult, how are our young people being looked after through this? So there's a lot of things to unpack, still unpacking, but we have to continue this. We have to continue the conversation, but bring in the accountability that actions are going to be taken as well.